So I've challenged myself to complete the first edit of my feature film by July 7th, because honestly, it needs to get done as soon as possible, and sometimes setting crazy deadlines is the only way I get things done in the first place. There are 6 major milestones that I have to accomplish before my targeted release date of December 1st, 2025. Sound editing and mixing, writing and recording the score, getting a professional color grade, launching a successful crowdfunding campaign, and finally, hosting some test screenings. And before I can do that, I need a first edit. What I'm doing is that I made a giant spreadsheet of all the scenes that are in my film. There's around 120 scenes in my film. And within those 120 scenes, there's around 24 sequences. Now, what is a sequence? Films are about change. And there are different degrees of change within a film. Within one scene, you have a small change. Within a sequence, you have a collection of scenes that produce moderate change. Within an act, you have a collection of sequences that produce major change. And within a film, you have a collection of acts that produces an irreversible change. And I've broken down the sequences based on the many little story arcs, because each sequence is essentially a mini short film. So a feature film is just 20 to 30 short films that you just put together. I'm looking at this spreadsheet and I'm way behind. If I'm going to get this film edited by July 7th, which is in like a week, I'm going to have to really kick it in overdrive. But the thing is, with editing a film, you can't force the creativity of it. Creativity is not a checklist. It's not an assembly line. It's a journey through the jungle. It's day 2 of 6. And I planned this long, complex vlog about how I was gonna edit my first cut in 6 days. And I realized that it's all BS. This is to any artist who wants to do things quickly. Don't. Do things in the time that they take you to do them. The deadline does not matter. That does not mean avoid your duties, but work at the speed that you work at. Honor God's time. Do not try to put some corporate admin-style deadline on a creative goal. There are real deadlines. Say you're shooting a movie and the start date is X date. Everything's got to be ready by that date. That's the way it is. But if you're working on a project that is of your own doing, there are no deadlines. Now, obviously, you can't do it forever. You have to set some sort of hope for a goal to be completed. Through that process, maybe try to figure out, well, okay, I learned how to do this. Maybe this is a system or a method that can be applied to future problems to solve them a little quicker. But it's not about blasting through things. Films aren't content. This ain't content. This isn't quantity over everything. This is quality work. This is work that will stand the test of time. It may be watched centuries from now. So once I let go of all the expectations, all the schedules and deadlines, I'm feeling more at peace with the work that I'm doing. Obviously, I would love to get it done as soon as possible, but for every missed deadline in a creative session, there's always a surprise that you couldn't have anticipated that makes the work better. You could rush something and say, I got it done, and then the next day you're going to look at it and go, oh my gosh, it's trash, I gotta redo it. So then you've just wasted time, wasted mental energy, and you've put a false sense of completion on yourself, and now you have to backtrack, so then you think that you're a failure or you're not good enough. And it becomes a snowball that you don't need in the middle of such a large lift. So today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with an easy sequence, and then I will move on to the hardest thing. Because once you do a little bit of work, that gives you inertia and the confidence to tackle the really hard work. One of the problems that I'm dealing with right now in this editing is the stacking of narratives. Right now I'm editing the climax, which is the most important narrative sequence in the film. In this sequence, there are multiple narratives that are kind of happening at the same time, and I'm trying to figure out how to get the waves to crash together. I look a lot at the movie Dunkirk, which has that shepherd tone editing style where there's always this perpetual crescendo of rising tension that overlaps each other and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So how can I do that with this? When there's multiple narratives, multiple characters happening at the same time. I've been at it for a couple hours now, and we've made a lot of progress today. And I say we've made a lot of progress. I've maybe edited like 30 or 45 seconds of footage, but the emotional resonance became so much clearer that every time I watch it, I just start smiling and I think, oh, here we go. Here, I can't wait to see what comes next. That's the beauty of taking time to get those little moments right. The first thing I was going to start talking about was how much I didn't get done, but I need to reframe my brain. I need to talk about what I did get done. I did about 5 or 6 minutes of editing, but 5 or 6 minutes that felt really good. Like when I watched it over and over again, it felt the same just about every time. I kind of reviewed some other footage and kind of looked at some sequences that weren't finished to give me a sense of what I need to work on next, because there's a million problems. I see just inconsistencies, potential plot holes, VFX shots, sound editing issues. It's a mess, but all I have is my work ethic. That's the only thing that I've got right now, because I don't have a distribution deal. I don't have a sale. I don't have any funding from people. All I've got is me. No one knows about this film. No one's seen it, so no one can believe in it. That's kind of the only thing I have right now is my belief in this film and my work ethic to bring it to the world. The biggest problem that I'm dealing with this edit is the fact that I captured the footage and the sound in a very unprofessional way. I was doing everything myself. I just had a shotgun mic on top of a camcorder, and I'm paying the price for that. It's a mess. There's a scene where one of the characters is playing some music, and he's playing in front of an audience, and every performance is a little bit different, and everything he says on the mic is a little bit different for every take, but we have to join takes together to make it seem like one moment. And it's not really going very well. I'm learning from this experience. Never again will I have such a big moment with so little choreography and so little contingencies for sound and continuity. I wanted to talk about a book that I've been reading. This book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, has really helped me reframe my brain with regards to the concept of resistance. Resistance is basically the forces that keep you from doing the work. The primary point of that book is just to say your problems aren't unique. Every artist experiences it. And if you're trying to get to a new level of your career, of your work, you're going to have resistance. There's a lot of filmmakers and creatives who want to do their first big project, but they don't know how, or they maybe need some camaraderie outside of their friend group or their small town, their hometown. And if sort of I can be the person that's a couple steps ahead of them. I'm a guy making a film who wants to make a career out of it. I'm not rich. I didn't come from money. The film that I made, I had to scrap and take the biggest risk of my life to get done. And then if that ends up becoming a success story, I think people will find a lot of value in that. And so these vlogs that I'm making now, I don't think they're going to be valuable for like another year or two, because people are going to look back and they're going to go, oh my God, he did that. And he documented it. So I'll go back and binge his old stuff. So that's my theory. But that's kind of how I've come to start battling this resistance to make content, because I'm starting to figure out why I'm doing it. Even though it's about what I'm doing, I don't want it to be about me, if that makes sense. It's really about the person who needs some motivation and inspiration from someone who's a couple steps ahead of them. So that's why I hope you're here. The reason I'm filling up the tires is because Bryn and I are going on a little road trip tomorrow. We're getting out of town. Man, these are good. I didn't really get any work done today because my dad came over and we did yard work for the majority of the day, and then I had a bunch of errands to run, and I didn't really get to edit any of the film, although after I pack, I'm probably gonna do some tonight. But the point of this is that I'm trying not to beat myself up for it. I'm trying not to bully myself because I didn't get work done. Because there were a lot of things that happened today that were very meaningful and that felt great and that needed to happen. That wasn't editing the film. If you've committed yourself to the life of an artist, you have to realize that every experience in your life is relevant, because anything can be taken and dissected and put into something for a creative purpose. And so even something as simple as mowing the lawn today was meaningful because it was something that needed to get done. It was physical. There was a sense of completion, a sense of meaningful work and improving the beauty of my environment. And that is artistic and that is creative in a sense. It may not be editing a film, but it's creative. I thought I was gonna make a video about like the making of the first cut, but I'm realizing that it's gonna be a lot longer than just like a week's worth of content. So this is the first part in a couple of me getting the first cut done of my debut feature film. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.